First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
Big cuts. A local sheriff's department is ending some services. Who will be affected? And attacked this weekend as she walked home.
I'd fight and he'd tell me to shut up and be quiet.
We hear a chilling story from a local rape victim and her message to the man who did it. Plus, a man who pulled a child from this burning SUV.
I didn't even realize what I was doing until I had the kid in my arms and I was walking away from the car.
Why he doesn't want to be called a hero. Then the final countdown.
0 and liftoff, the final liftoff of Atlantis.
The space shuttle comes to the end of the line.
But first tonight, a live look at Super Doppler 10 radar where rain is moving in.
So what are we in store for tonight? That's the big question.
10 on your side, Chief Meteorologist Don Slater standing by now in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center to tell you more. Don.
We had some big rain this morning, obviously, to parts of the area, and we're going to see some rain strafe that area right now, that same area, getting some rainfall. And later on tonight and into early tomorrow morning, we could really get pounded by heavy rain and some very big changes coming up for the weekend. I want to show you what's going on into the region. We move in for a little closer view, show you where it is raining right now. You can see some rain, but for the most part, very light rain into parts of the peninsula, Williamsburg area, up toward the middle peninsula. As far as thunder and lightning, that's all on off to the west and northwest of our area. But the problem with this whole situation is that there's a cold front right on out into here, and that cold front is going to come swinging on through our area overnight. So you saw heavy rain. Well, you're going to see heavy rain coming up again overnight and into tomorrow morning. Now, here's some of the rainfall that we did get earlier in the day. You can see again some of these areas really getting pounded with heavy rain. And what do we expect? Well, here's what's going on. Weather is not so bad right now, but overnight it's going to pick up. Really this evening and overnight, heavy rain possible in the 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. time range, and then a few showers into early Saturday afternoon. The rest of the weekend is looking terrific. So we got lots of big changes and things going on in our forecast for the weekend, and you'll want to see it all in a few minutes.
Slash programs, that's what the Portsmouth Sheriff's Office did today. It follows a long-running feud with City Council, and when Council slashed the Sheriff's budget, the gloves came off. Then your side's Andy Fox is here now with what is going on at City Hall. Andy?
Yeah, Tom, this has been going on for a long time, this feud. Who's right and who's wrong depends on to whom you speak. The City Council says the funds were cut for the sheriff because the sheriff isn't doing the work anymore.
This is monumental, yes.
Monumental. Sheriff Bill Watson is turning in 60 sheriff's vehicles to the city of Portsmouth, and he's cutting scores of services, including the Inmate Work Center. The sheriff's executive assistant, Lieutenant Lee Cherry.
This cut affects us to the depth that we will not be able to buy uniforms next year, bullets, guns, training, all of the items you need to run a sheriff's department will be eliminated in the FY12 budget.
These cuts follow the council cutting money to the sheriff's office of $1.5 million.
I was wrong.
Vice Mayor Charles Whitehurst voted for the cuts, but now has done an about-face. Why did you vote for this? Why did you vote for these cuts?
I did a dumb thing. I gave the mayor my vote because he said we would come back and do it later. I did it wrong. I'm sorry. I'll never do that again.
Mayor Kenneth Wright did not return our phone call, but said this about the sheriff in this work session.
Again, he's an elected official. No, we can't tell him what to do, but we can control that money. If he gets amnesia, that money will rectify that real quick.
Whitehurst says he was hoodwinked. What did he say he was going to do that made you vote for him?
He said we would come back later and go line by line in the budget. I said, okay.
It is clear, though, in this letter from Sheriff Watson to the city manager and city council, including Whitehurst, if he's cut, he'll cut the programs, and that includes Scared Straight and programs for seniors. Whitehurst claims he never saw the letter.
I just think we need to look at it very deeply to try to find out what should we do and how can we resolve this issue.
And the sheriff was not at that news conference. I spoke with Councilman Steve Heretic. He says the sheriff's budget was cut after much deliberation, and it was cut because the sheriff refused to do police booking and intake. The Portsmouth Police Department now does that, and Heretic says that's why the police department got the sheriff's $1.5 million budget allotment. More on the Portsmouth city government family feud tonight at 6.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Two big developments in a rape investigation in Newport News.
The victim talked to members of the media today in hopes of catching the man who did it. And late this afternoon, police have released this sketch of the suspect. Tonight, your side, Stephanie Harris joins us now with the latest. Stephanie.
Tom Alvita, this man, he is the one police are looking for. The victim describes him as either Asian or Hispanic. He speaks with broken English and was wearing a white chef-style jacket and a hat when he attacked a young woman on Jefferson Avenue early Saturday morning. She spoke with us earlier today.
I just don't want him to think that I'm just going to sit back and he's going to get away with it.
We respectfully agreed to protect the identity of this young woman who's already had so much taken from her.
It's hard to be outside at night. I don't like to go anywhere by myself. I stay with friends all the time.
She was alone here on Jefferson Avenue early Saturday morning, walking home after an argument with her boyfriend. She helped police create this sketch of a man she says rode up on a green bicycle, pulled her into the woods, punched her in the face, and raped her.
I'd fight, and he'd tell me to shut up and be quiet and things like that.
Her eyes swelled shut immediately. Everything was dark.
I remember the smell of dirt.
She managed somehow to make it into the median. Half naked and crying, someone called police.
Honestly, one of the more brutal things I've seen as an investigator. So it's particularly concerning because this could happen again.
That's why, with a black eye and a broken spirit, this young woman came forward.
I don't think anybody has the right to do that to anyone, so I'll do whatever I can to stop him from hurting someone else.
It's what she believes. It's how she was raised, by a father who is also a police officer.
No, he's always taught us that if somebody does something wrong, they need to be punished for it, and sometimes you have to go through things that aren't that comfortable or you don't really want to do, but it may not fix what happened to you, but it may stop it from happening to somebody else.
A very brave young woman. That woman is getting help and healing both physically and mentally. Coming up at 6, I'll tell you how she is already planning to use this devastating event to do some good. Meantime, if you know anything that can help police put this suspect behind bars, call the crime line. That number is 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP. And remember, you do not have to give your name. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
Well, two popular beaches on the peninsula are closed because of high bacteria levels. The Peninsula Health District has issued a swimming advisory for Hilton and Huntington beaches in Newport News. There are signs at both beaches warning swimmers about the danger. The bacteria could make people sick, and health officials will take another sample next week.
History was made this morning at Florida's Kennedy Space Center.
All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. The final liftoff of Atlantis. On the shoulders of the
Atlantis roared off the pad and through the clouds for the shuttle program's final launch. They are moments we have seen for years, but today was different as Atlantis astronauts took the final steps of the shuttle program. Tension building as workers and watchers kept their eyes on the weather, hoping skies would clear for one final look at the Ionic spacecraft as it raced into orbit.
One more time, Mike.
After those words from the commander,
0 and liftoff.
Lifted off from the Florida coastline for the very last time.
The space shuttle spreads its wings one final time for the start of a sentimental journey into history.
Along with its crew of 4, Atlantis is carrying a 30-year legacy.
I look back on what the shuttle's done in 30 years. The Hubble Space Telescope, Magellan, Ulysses, Galileo, the probes. The shuttle opened up space.
Booster ignition.
After 135 launches and more than 20,000 trips around the Earth, the final shuttle flight marks the end of the program that for 3 decades brought America incredible highs and twice united us in overwhelming tragedy. So on this day, close to 1 million gathered near Kennedy Space Center, their eyes raised skyward, but for many, their hearts
Part of me
heavy.
didn't want it to go today because I don't want it to be over. Oh, yeah. But it was beautiful.
Full time is 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
At the last minute, it almost didn't go. With just 31 seconds on the clock, a technical glitch needed a closer look. But in the end, Atlantis soared into history. leaving many wondering about the future, especially the hundreds who worked on the shuttle for so long. And on WAVY.com's homepage, you can also watch Atlanta's liftoff, read an overview of the flight, view a timeline of the shuttle program, and see 135 launches in 135 seconds.
Truly an end of an era. He risked his life to save another.
I looked back in the vehicle and I saw the silhouette of a baby's head in the flames.
Hear from the man who pulled a little boy from this burning SUV. And tragedy at a Major League ballpark in the middle of a baseball game.
It looked awful because you knew there was no way he was going to, land on his feet.
Hear from a baseball fan who witnessed the deadly accident.
She was acquitted of murder in the death of her 2-year-old daughter. Casey Anthony will be free in less than 2 weeks. A judge in Orlando, Florida, sentenced Anthony to the maximum of 4 years for lying to investigators after her daughter's death, but she will be released July 17th after time served and good behavior.
A tragic accident at Rangers Ballpark in Texas. A 39-year-old fan died last night after he fell from the stands while reaching for a foul ball tossed his way by an outfielder. The man tumbled over the rail and fell 20 feet to the concrete below. He was conscious, though, at the ballpark, but he died at the hospital.
Just as the ball hit his hand, it kind of threw him off balance and he just went head first. And it looked awful because you knew there was no way he was going to, land on his feet. I mean, he disappeared so you couldn't see anything, but the way he fell, it looked like it was just straight on his head.
The victim's 6-year-old son witnessed that fall.
Well, for the first time tonight, we're hearing from the man who pulled a child from this burning SUV.
I've been at collision at sea. Seen a lot of things, but I've never experienced something like this ever in my life.
You'll also hear why the sailor who risked his life does not consider himself a hero.
A puppy is in desperate need of surgery tonight after being abused. Someone wrapped a rubber band around this little guy's mouth so tightly it wore away his skin to the bone. New tonight at 6, we'll walk you through the efforts to help this 6-month-old poodle heal and how you can help.
Watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Ribas, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
For the first time tonight, we're hearing from the man who risked his life to save a 4-year-old boy from the back of this burning SUV. 38-year-old Navy sailor Joseph Wechsler died after his SUV went up in flames on Interstate 64 Sunday night. His wife and son escaped with help.
And that is the key word, help. 10 on your side's Melanie Woodrow spoke with the guy who stopped and saved Wechsler's little boy. Melanie?
Tom and Alvita, Michael Nightingale does not see himself as a hero. He says he is a father, a sailor, and a man who would want someone else to do the same thing for him in an emergency.
I've never experienced something like this ever in my life.
Sunday night, Michael Nightingale and his family were coming back from King's Dominion when they spotted this burning SUV.
Pulled up off the bridge and pulled to the side. Just jumped out of the vehicle and started running back up the road to offer some sort of assistance.
Nightingale says by the time he reached the vehicle, it was fully engulfed.
I opened up the rear passenger door. I saw a car seat, reached in and grabbed the car seat and pulled it out. There was nothing in the car seat. I looked back in the vehicle and I saw the silhouette of a baby's head in the flames. And I just, without even thinking, I just reached into the fire and pulled the baby out.
Michelle Wechsler was already outside of the vehicle. Another passerby moved her away from the Chevy Traverse.
And we sat down together and then she said, my husband, my husband. And the other gentleman actually started to run towards the vehicle, and that's when the vehicle started exploding.
Michelle and 4-year-old son Dalton were taken to the hospital for severe burns. Michelle is in critical condition. Hospital officials won't release Dalton's condition, but Nightingale says he's doing well.
I'm sorrowful. I'm very sorrowful. I can't focus on the child right now. because it's hard. I'm glad the baby is alive, but my heart goes out to the father and to the mother.
A parent himself, Nightingale struggles knowing the 4-year-old boy he saved could grow up without a father.
The Bible talks about, you know, there's a time to laugh and there's a time to cry. And right now, we just need to keep them in the prayers.
Michelle's mother is at her bedside, and so is Joseph's mother. Coming up tonight, new at 6, hear from Michael's wife, who was also in the car with him when they helped and pulled over to help, rather. Melanie Woodrow, 10 on your side.
And there's one more note here. 10 on your side did check, and there are no recalls or technical service bulletins for that 2011 Chevy Traverse, the one that was burning in that story.
Now, in high definition, your Super Doppler 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
This is one of those days where we want to tell you what's going to be happening. There's nothing real bad going on right now out there in terms of any severe weather or any heavy rainers into the area. It's just been isolated. Obviously, this morning we had some fairly hefty rain through parts of the area, but right now it's relatively quiet. Later on, though, all this action that we can see out off to the northwest is going to start dropping on in. Here's what is going on into the area. Some scattered light rain from Southampton County up into Isle of Wight County, Surrey County, across parts of the peninsula. Light rain certainly across the northern neck, or it would be the middle peninsula into the northern neck, approaching the eastern shore. But all the big stuff is on off to our west. But the problem is that big stuff is associated with a cold front right about into here. It's going to come swinging on into the area later on tonight into tomorrow morning. It's going to be very slow moving. So if we see showers and thunderstorms develop along this slow moving front, the rain could last a goodly amount of time, and there are going to be pops of very heavy rainfall into the area. And the thing about it, too, is we've had lots of pops of heavy rain where the ground is getting a little bit closer to saturated right now. So some heavy rain that does fall, that could be a problem with morning flooding into the area. 3 o'clock in the morning through around 8 o'clock in the morning is a time frame. You can see the bigger stuff right now is on up toward the Washington area, and that'll come swinging on through again later on tonight. Not even into the Richmond area so much quite yet. So again, that's what's going on into our area. The bigger stuff, though, is on off to the northwest. We'll show you what's going on with the whole wider picture. This area of rain, which somehow did not mess with the shuttle takeoff this morning. The shuttle launch this morning is offshore, but this is the area that's going to get us a little bit later on tonight. That's going to be swinging on through, and it's going to tap into a lot of humidity that's over the area right now. It's very humid. Lots of water available to really get wrung out in any kind of storms that do develop into the area. In fact, how much do we see out of all of this? Well, here's quite likely what we expect out of this. 1,300, 7/10, 6,700s. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but the thing about it is it's likely going to fall in a pretty quick amount of time, and we'll see little streaks of heavy rainfall into parts of the area during the overnight hours. And it looks like the time frame is going to be between around 3 o'clock in the morning and around 8 o'clock in the morning, and then things will start to improve. In North Carolina, it'll take a little longer. Things will start to improve, and we'll end up with some sunshine by the end of the day coming up on Saturday. Rain should come to an end by the noon hour for most of us. 85, 88 degrees, 85, 86, 88 degrees. Basically mid to upper 80s, cooler where it's been raining into the Richmond area, for example, but that rain is going to come swinging on through a little bit later on tonight. As I mentioned, mostly between 3 o'clock and around 8 o'clock in the morning. Could be very heavy thunderstorms. My colleague Sergey Galindo will be with you here tomorrow morning to let you know about it, and it could last into 9 o'clock, but I tend to think things will settle on down. Big question mark as far as any afternoon rain into the area. I think it's going to be during the morning. 85 for a high, some clearing by later on in the afternoon. 89, lots of sunshine coming up during the day on Sunday. 90 for Monday. Another cool front moves on through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning with a bit more rain.
We think of swimming in the summertime. A painful infection, though, that's not part of summer fun. 10 is on your side with how to spot swimmer's ear, and more importantly, how to get rid of it.
And new at 5:30, flooding is a major issue for Hampton Roads. But tonight, we're on your side to show you how one city is helping homeowners identify potential flooding problems before it's too late.
Summer is the season for swimming.
Yeah, but a painful infection can leave you high and dry. The CDC says that every year swimmer's ear leads to 2.4 million visits to the doctor. Swimming provides the perfect opportunity for a way to get trapped inside the ear canal.
And doctors say there's an easy way to find out if the ear pain your child is having is really swimmer's ear.
If the mother or father can take the ear and just wiggle the ear in an external otitis, a swimmer's ear, that'll cause a significant amount of pain.
Ow, I know I've had that before. If you can't make it to the doctor, though, here's a home remedy. Put some alcohol on a cotton ball, tilt the child's head, and slowly drip it in the ear, then raise up. You can also blow warm air from a dryer into your ear to get that water out.
Yeah, one I gotta try. If the ear becomes swollen, painful, or starts draining fluid, go see a doctor.
All right. Big birthday. William McKinley was president when this woman was born. God bless her. See her secret, or hear her secret, I should say, to a long life.
Plus, more help is on the way for Americans struggling to pay their mortgages. 10 on your side breaks down the details of the government's new relief plan.
One, two, three, four, five.
I'm sorry, Andy's not here right now. Hey, I'm clipping, sorry. I haven't clipped yet.
Born in 1901.
Something.
Or 1900, I think. McKinley was president. This Southern California woman here is really something. She's marking a major milestone. Her name is Frederica Moss, and she celebrated her 111th birthday on Wednesday. The 18th oldest person in the U.S., 67th in the world. We're used to numbers here when we describe Frederica. She wrote dozens of screenplays during Hollywood's silent film era. Moss says she's never smoked and drank only in moderation. Maybe that's a secret. Family members say she spends most of her days sleeping. Moss once credited resting as the secret to her longevity. Now, to put her age in perspective, Moss was 11 years old when the Titanic went down. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.